I needed somewhere to put my coffee, so I built this C table, and today I want to show you how to make it. This table isn't the most complex build ever. In fact, you could really make it with a jigsaw, a table saw, some dowels or pocket screws, sandpaper, and glue. That said, I did spend some time on the details like side profile, edges, and joinery to fancy things up. So once I had my boards milled down to the final thickness, I cut them down to their final width. For this process, I set the fence width and don't touch it again until all of my similar pieces are ripped down to avoid any errors. I like using a crosscut sled for repetitive slices because it allows me to set a stop and quickly repeat the cuts. If you would like detailed plans for this project, they are available for purchase at the link in the description below. With all of my pieces cut out, I started on the tapers for the top and bottom. To do this, I marked out a template to set up the sled for the table saw. Then I screwed in some plywood pieces to hold my boards in place. I built 2 sleds in total, one for the top and one for the base. Holding my sled flush against the fence in my same initial cut setting, I made the cuts. I was very mindful about my finger placement when making these cuts, and if you're not comfortable holding the piece down, you can screw in a few hold down clamps. Then over at the bandsaw, I roughed out the vertical leg pieces. If you don't have a bandsaw, you can use a jigsaw. At the router table, I used a template I made earlier to finish the vertical leg pieces. I left these pieces long to this point to avoid any tear out from the flush trim bit. You could also do this with a handheld router. Let me know in the comments what you prefer for templates. Next, I marked out the miter cuts for the top and bottom of the legs. Then I swapped the ripping blade for a crosscut blade. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a like. It helps me to reach more viewers like you. Using a miter gauge, I cut the miters into the leg. I made sure to take light passes and snuck up to my line. Next, I marked out the placement for my dominoes. Now I know not everyone has a domino, so for these joints you can also use dowels. With everything marked out, I plunged the mortises. If you like this type of joint, you should check out my bookcase build linked in the card above. It really complements this piece and dives deep into using the domino. With all the mortises cut, I marked out the curves for the tips of the horizontal pieces, then took them over to the disc sander to round off the ends. To attach the tabletop slats to the base, I again used dominoes. Alternatively, you could use pocket screws or a cleat along the bottom to support the slats. I will include a template for this process as well as full-size templates for all the other pieces in the plans. I then marked out the same domino placement on the slats. Finally, I tested the fit. Now I could glue and clamp the leg assemblies together. While those dried, I cut my stretchers to their final length. If you want to keep up with these projects as I build them, follow me on Instagram at Timber Biscuit Woodwork. The next step was to mark out the placement for the stretchers. Then I cut the mortises with the domino. Again, if you don't have a domino, pocket screws or dowels would work just fine. I used a spindle sander to clean up the curve on the leg joints. I've also used a thick dowel wrapped in sandpaper to accomplish the same result. And if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing. Thank you so much for your support. Back at the router table, I used a large roundover bit to add an edge profile to the outside of the table legs. This really adds to the look of the piece and makes it feel more finished. I also made sure to stop at the bottom of the base to give the table more surface area to contact the ground. Then the tops of the lower stretchers got the same treatment. For the outside edges of the legs, as well as the upper stretchers and slats, I used an 1/8 inch roundover bit to soften the profile. If you're looking to purchase any of the tools or items you've seen in this video, I'll have links in the description. Now, full disclosure, I do get a few pennies if you buy, but I would never recommend anything I don't use myself. To fill any knots or voids in the piece, I used Starbond Black CA glue. Then I sanded all the pieces through the grits up to 180 grit. As for the curved edges, I hand sanded the roundovers to clean up any router marks. To make the glue up easier and less stressful, because we all need that, I pre-glued the dominoes into the slats and stretchers. Then it was time to glue and clamp the entire piece together. I'll apologize that this was cut a little short, as my camera did die midway through the glue up. But for this glue up, I'm using Titebond 2 Extend to give me a little bit more working time. With everything dry, I left my mark. Next, it was time for finish. I used Rubio Monocoat for this piece, and if you like how this finish looks, you should see the desk I made from spalted maple. I'll link the video at the end screen. Applying this finish is super easy and it gives excellent protection from water and dings. You simply apply it with a white Scotch-Brite pad and then wipe off the excess. I couldn't be happier with how this piece turned out. The edge details look and feel fantastic, and the maple really contrasts well with the walnut. And I love how the transitions turned out. Plus, now I have a place to put my coffee. And if you like this build, check out my other projects. I make new videos all the time, so if you think I've earned it, please subscribe. I'll see you next time.